Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, text 36. Pare vare chaye bhava guna vyati karad anu nate sham vidyate kshemam Isha vidvamshita shisham Pare vare chaye bhava Guna vyati karad anu Natesham vidyate kshemam Isha vidvamshita shisham Pare vare chaye bhava Guna vyati karad anu Natesham vidyate kshemam Isha vidvamsita shisham Prabhu? Hare vare chaye bhava Guna vyati karadanu natesham vidyate kshemam. Isha vidvamshita shisham. Pare vare chaye bhava. Guna vyati karadanu. Natesha vidyate kshemam. Isha vidvamshita shisham. Pare vare chaye bhava. Guna vyati karadanu. Natesham vidyate kshemam. Isha vidvamshita shisham. Mataji's? Pare vare chaye bhava. Guna vyati karadanu. Natesham vidyate kshemam. Isha vidvamshita shisham. Pare vare chaye bhava. Guna vyati karadanu. Natesham vidyate kshemam. Isha vidvamshita shisham. Okay, word for word. Pare, in the higher status of life. Avare, in the lower status of life. Cha, and. Ye, all those. Bhavaha, conceptions. Guna, material qualities. Vyatikarat, by interaction. Anu, following. Na, never. Tesham, of them. Vidyate, exist. Kshemam, correction. Isha, the Supreme Lord. Vidvamsita, destroyed. Ashisham, of all of the living being. Of the blessings. Translation. We accept as blessings different states of higher life, distinguishing them from lower states of life. But we should know that such distinctions exist only in relation to the interchange of the modes of material nature. Actually, those states of life have no permanent existence, for all of them will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. Purport by His Divine Grace. In our material existence, we accept a higher form of life as a blessing and a lower form of life as a curse. This distinction of higher and lower only exists as long as the different material qualities, gunas, interact. In other words, by our good activities, we are elevated to the higher planetary systems or to higher standards of life, good education, beautiful body, etc. Those are the results of pious activities. Similarly, by impious activities, we remain illiterate, get ugly bodies, a poor standard of living, etc. But all those different states of life are under the laws of material nature through the interaction of qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance. However, all those qualities will cease to act at the time of dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 8:16, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avritina arjuna mam upetya tu konteya punar janma navidyate. Even though we elevate ourselves to the highest planetary systems by the scientific advancement of knowledge or by religious principles of life, great sacrifices and fruitive activities, at the time of dissolution of those higher planetary systems and life on them will be destroyed. In this verse, the words Isha Vidmam Shita Shisham indicate that all such blessings will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. We will not be protected, our bodies, either in this planet or in another planet, will be destroyed. And again, we will have to remain for millions of years in an unconscious state within the body of Mahavishnu. And again, when the creation is manifested, we have to take birth in different species of life to begin our activities. Therefore, we should not be satisfied simply by a promotion to higher planetary systems. We should try to get out of the material cosmic manifestation, go to the spiritual world, and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is our highest achievement. We should not be attracted by anything material, higher or lower, but should consider them all on the same level. Our real engagement should be inquiring about the real purpose of life, rendering devotional service to the Lord. Thus, we will be eternally blessed in our spiritual activities, full of knowledge and bliss. Regulated human civilization promotes dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. In human society, there must be religion. Without religion, human society is only animal society. Economic development and sense gratification must be based on religious principles. When religion, economic development, and sense gratification are adjusted, liberation from this material birth, death, old age, disease is assured. In the present age of Kali, however, there is no question of religion and liberation. People have taken interest only in economic development and sense gratification. Therefore, despite sufficient economic development all over the world, dealings in human society have become almost animalistic. When everything becomes grossly animalistic, disillusion takes place. This disillusion is to be accepted as Isha Vidbam Shita Shisham. The Lord's so-called blessings of economic development and sense gratification will be conclusively dissolved by destruction. At the end of this Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear in the incarnation of Kalki, and his only business will be to kill all human beings on the surface of the globe. After that killing, another golden age will begin. We should therefore know that our material activities are just like childish play. Children may play on the beach, and the father will sit and watch this childish play, the construction of the buildings with sand, the construction of walls, and so many things. But finally, the father will ask the children to come home. Then everything is destroyed. Persons are too much addicted to these childish activities of economic development and sense gratification, are sometimes especially favored by the Lord, and when he destroys their construction of these things. It is said by the Lord, Yasyaham anugrinami harishye tad danam sanaih. The Lord told Yudhisthira Maharaj that his special favor is shown to his devotees when he takes away all the devotees' material opulences. Generally, therefore, it is experienced that Vaishnavas are not very opulent in the material sense. When a Vaishnava, pure devotee, tries to become materially opulent and at the same time desires to serve the Supreme Lord, his devotional service is checked. The Lord, in order to show him a special favor, destroys his so-called economic development and material opulences. Thus, the devotee, being frustrated in his repeated attempts to economic development, ultimately takes solid shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. This kind of action may also be accepted as Isha Vidvamshita Sisham, whereby the Lord destroys one's material opulences, but enriches one in spiritual understanding. In the course of our preaching work, we sometimes see that materialistic persons come to us and offer their obeisances to take blessings, which means that they want more material opulences. If such material opulences are checked, such persons are no longer interested in offering obeisances to the devotees. Such materialistic persons are always concerned about their economic development. They offer obeisances to saintly persons who or the Supreme Lord and give something in charity for preaching work with the view that they will be rewarded with further economic development. However, when one is sincere in his devotional service, the Lord obliges the devotee to give up his material detachment and completely surrender unto him. Because the Lord does not give blessings to material opulences to his devotees, people are afraid of worshipping Lord Vishnu, because they see that the Vaishnavas, who are worshippers of Lord Vishnu, are poor in superficial material opulences. Such materialistic persons, however, get immense opportunity for economic development by worshipping Lord Shiva, for Lord Shiva is the husband of the goddess Durga, the proprietor of this universe. By the grace of Lord Shiva, a devotee gets the opportunity to be blessed by goddess Durga. Ravana, for example, was a great worshipper and devotee of Lord Shiva. In return, he got all the blessings of goddess Durga, so much so that his whole kingdom was constructed of golden buildings. In Brazil, in the present age, huge quantities of gold have been found. From the historical references in the Puranas, we can guess safely that this was Ravana's kingdom. This kingdom was, however, destroyed by Lord Ramachandra. By studying such incidents, we can understand that the full meaning of Isha Vidvamshita Shisham. The Lord does not bestow material blessings upon the devotees, for they may be entrapped again in the material world by continuous birth, death, old age, and disease. Due to materialistic opulences, persons like Ravana become puffed up for sense gratification. Ravana even dared kidnap Sita, who is both the wife of Lord Ramachandra and the goddess of fortune, thinking that he could be able to enjoy the pleasure potency of the Lord. But actually, by such action, Ravana became vidvamshita, or ruined. At the present moment, human civilization is too much attached to economic development and sense gratification, and therefore nearing the path of ruination. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll read the translation one more time. We accept as blessings different states of higher life, distinguishing them from lower states of life. But we should know that such distinctions exist only in relation to the interchange of modes of material nature. Actually, the states of life have no permanent existence, for all of them will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. Homa Yajna timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Gayate Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Okay, so we have a very long purport today, and it's perfect. So we'll finish class here, and we'll go. Prabhupada went into great detail in this verse, because it's very important for us to understand this principle, that in this material world, so-called good times and bad times are dictated by our previous activities, and we distinguish them. And sometimes we think, oh, now I'm in a very good period of my life, and other times I was suffering very much. And because of that, we differentiate the Lord's mercy. But we have to see it in the opposite way, that when we're in tough times, then the Lord is showing us His mercy. He's giving us the opportunity to change something, to change our desires, to understand that the Lord, He's showing us that this material world is dukhalayama shashvatam, a place of misery and suffering. So then when we start seeing it in that point of view, we'll come closer to the understanding of Kunti Devi, right? She's asking the Lord to give more misery, to give more problems, to take away more of their things, Because when she was in that situation, she was thinking of the Lord the whole time. And the Lord was always with them. Whenever there was some problem, the Lord would come. And when everything was perfect, the Lord would leave. And so Goti Devi is asking, bring more miseries. Yeah, satam samipe ramanam pratipadam, right? Bring problems every step, please. Then I will think of you. Then I can constantly be thinking of you. Right? Bring hundreds of problems, she's saying. So this is the mentality of a pure devotee. When one reaches that stage of understanding, one doesn't differentiate anymore. Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita it says that the happiness and distress in this material world is just like the seasons, hot, cold, wind and rain, sun. Yeah? So a dhira tatra namukhyati, right? He's not bewildered by the changes in this world. Happiness may come, sadness may come, wealth may come, poor, right? Poverty may come. But someone who is fixed in his devotional service does not become withered by this, doesn't get shaken by this. And so the Lord, with such a devotee, can do as he pleases. And that's the whole purpose of our life, to serve the Lord. So we see in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, there were some devotees that had everything, and some devotees who had absolutely nothing. Yeah? But they were both pure. They're both perfect. We have the pastime of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, right? He was a zamindar. Zamindars in Bengal during the time of the Nawab were more opulent than the kings. They had all the power, all the riches, everything you could possibly desire. But he was a pure devotee. Yeah? And then you have someone like Raghunath Das Thakur, who was living in the most austere manner with nothing. And it was his choice, right? To have absolutely nothing. And he was simply the same, how would I say, equal in their enjoyment of their devotional service. Because they were simply tools in the hands of the Lord. There was no preference. The Lord could take everything away from Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he would still be happy. The Lord could give everything to Raghunath Das Goswami, and he would use it in the Lord's service. So if we keep, as Prabhupada says in the purport, keep liberation and religion, Shri Prahlad Lakshman Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Keep liberation or freedom from this material desires and the Lord, religion, as our focus, then all these things that we have in our life, riches or different so-called opulences, will be assisting us in our process of devotional service. Yeah? Prabhupada says in the purport, when religion, economic development, and sense gratification are adjusted, liberation from this material birth, death, old age, and disease is assured. Right? So what does it mean, adjusted? It means that it's used in proportion to what we need for our devotional service. When liberation from this material world and devotion to Krishna is our focus, then everything that comes into our life, we judge based on this meter. Will it take me to Krishna or take me away from Krishna? If it takes me to Krishna, I use it. If it takes me away from Krishna, I don't use it. And like that, keeping our gauge in that way that we're constantly thinking, is this going to help or is this going to block? Then we can focus on our devotional service and it'll bring us to that path. Yeah? Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, he gives the process, he explains the process of Sakam Karma Yoga, right? Once you still have desires, you utilize those desires in the process of devotional service. I have a desire for a certain thing, but I will find a way to use it in Krishna's service so it becomes purified. I have a desire for something fancy. I have a desire for a nice house. I have a desire to go and have money. So I will use it in the Lord's service with the goal that the Lord will purify this desire and free me from this thing that I want. Yeah? And the Lord, He will provide to the extent where he knows that this devotee will not be distracted. When you surrender to the Lord in this way, you say, my Lord, I have this desire, and I'm trying, but I can't get rid of it. Please help me take care of this. The Lord may give you the object of your desire, but he will give you how much you need or to diminish this desire, but not too much that you become distracted. But you have to put yourself in the Lord's hands for this. If you don't give that desire to the Lord will not purify it. To the extent we open to the Lord takes control of our lives. Yeah? And to however much we can give to the Lord our desires, that much he will be able to purify. We have so many desires in our heart. So many. Some desires we open to the Lord and we ask him for, and some desires we keep hidden. Yeah, this is a hidden desire, and please, my Lord, I'm working on it, but maybe not yet. Yeah? With that desire, the Lord won't touch. He knows you're not ready. But to the more we're able to open our heart and say, whatever I have is yours, the good and the bad, then he can come into our lives and fix it for the better. Yeah? We shouldn't be scared, as Krishna says here, that he will take everything away. Right? I remember when I was younger and I heard that the Krishna shows special mercy and he takes everything away. I was like, oh boy. Maybe I don't want that. Right? But Krishna is merciful. He'll only do that to a pure devotee. He'll only do that to someone who can take that challenge. And he'll make sure that you get through it. Yeah, it's like sometimes when you're a parent, you'll take your child to some challenge, right? A difficult bicycle path, or a difficult tree to climb, or some, difficult test, in school or something. But you're right there and you're assisting him. He can't fall. I'm there holding. He can't, in the bicycle, I'm right there in case they fall over. But you're still going to give them the push. Go for this test. You can do it. So the Lord will do that for us. He'll put us through a difficult time, but we should never forget that he's there. And he's guiding us through that difficult challenge. And he's making sure that somehow or another, we're going to pass it. So having the faith in the Lord, that he's there for us in good times and bad times, is what I took from this purport. That the Lord, he will take us through good times, he will take us through bad times. But keeping him as the focus of our life is how we weather through the storm. Through good times, through bad times. Good times without getting distracted, and bad times without being discouraged. Yeah? So this is something that Srila Prabhupada is pointing out in the purport that kind of touched what my idea of what he was bringing out. And at the end, Prabhupada goes into detail about Ravana. And this is kind of the warning of this purport, is that Prabhupada is saying that Ravana, he tried to steal Sita, or the Lord's external energy, or the pleasure potency of the Lord, and tried to enjoy her separate from Krishna, separate from the Lord. And because of that, he was destroyed. So if we want riches, if we want some enjoyment, you have to take the Lord. And the Lord, along with the Lord, will come the goddess of fortune. Along with the Lord will come the pleasure potency. If you try to take only the pleasure potency and keep the Lord away, it's going to be destroyed. Right? So you have some material desires, go to the Lord. My Lord, I have this material desire. Lakshmi Devi will come, if the Lord wants. But if you try, go, Lakshmi Devi, I have this desire, but please, my Lord, don't purify this desire just yet. I want to enjoy this desire a bit. It's not going to work. Yeah? This desire won't become purified in that way. So in connection to this purport, I was thinking the person that exemplifies this so well is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's appearance day is actually tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is Vasanta Panchami. It's the first day of spring, not for us, but but in India, it's the first day of spring. It's a very, very auspicious day. It's one of the two, there's more, but as far as the Vedic calendar goes, one of the two most auspicious days of the year. You have Vasanta Panchami in spring and Akshaya Tritiya at the beginning of summer. And these days are excellent for beginning anything, to start a project, to take a vow, to start becoming more serious in whatever you want to learn or perfect in this year. So we can take advantage tomorrow from the first minute of the morning, take something in our mind that we want to focus on. And on this day, tomorrow, there's also many appearance days. There's the appearance day of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, of course. There's the appearance day of Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Sri Raghunandana Thakur, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and the appearance of Srimati Vishnupriya Devi, the wife of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's also Saraswati Puja, so any education you want to begin or take seriously or ask for blessings, tomorrow's the day. Yeah? So just before I go into the pastime of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, I thought I would mention a little something on Sri Raghunandana Thakur. Does anyone know who Raghunandana Thakur is? Wonderful. Jai, thank you, Mataji. So I'll just tell a short story of Raghunandana Thakur. It was his childhood pastime when he was very small. So Raghunandana Thakur is the son of Mukunda Das. Yeah, Mukunda Das was another great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so they lived in Sri Khanda, which is around 2 hours from Mayapur. 2 hours from Mayapur in the southwest direction, I think. And so Mukunda Das, he had a beautiful deity of Gopinath. And one day when he had to go visit another devotee, he told his son, Raghunandana Thakur, at that time Raghunandan, that this deity is part of our family. And just like your mom gives you food every day, we have to give prasad to him as well, otherwise he'll be hungry. So exactly at 1 p.m., you have to go and offer prasad or boga to the deity so he eats his lunch. And then you can have your lunch. He was 5 years old, Raghunandana Thakur. And so Raghunandana Thakur took it very seriously. He was like, I don't want Gopinath to go hungry. So when 1 o'clock came, he grabbed the boga plate, he went into the altar, he sat down, he rang the bell as his father told, and he said, my Lord, please take your lunch. And so he's sitting there and watching and waiting for the Lord to eat. And the Lord's not eating. So he gets very disturbed. And he says, my Lord, please, you have to eat. My father said, if you don't eat, I can't eat. And I'm so hungry. So please eat. And Gopinath, hearing the prayers of Raghunandan with such innocence and pure devotion, immediately sat down and put Raghunandan on his lap and ate his lunch. And so Raghunandana Thakur, he was so happy. He went, and his father came home. And the father says, Raghunandan, did you offer the boga? He says, yes, I offered the boga. And he says, so where is my lunch? And he said, the Lord ate it all. He says, but what do you mean the Lord ate it all? He says, well, you told me to give him his lunch, and he ate his lunch. I did what you told me. There's no more lunch. And Mukunda Das was, what are you talking about? Like he couldn't imagine. And he said, you mean the Lord ate? And he said, yes, the Lord ate. You told me, make him eat. He ate. I don't know why you're so surprised. And so Mukunda Das was surprised, but also intrigued. What is this true? So he gave a plate of ladus to Raghunandan and he said, go and offer this to Gopinath. He has to have his sweet. So Raghunandana Thakur, he went with a plate of ladus and again rang the bell and told Gopinath, please eat ladus. And after that, Mukunda Das, he waited a few minutes and then peeked through the curtain quickly to see if Gopinath was eating. And he saw that Gopinath had half a laddu in his hand. Gopinath didn't keep eating when Mukunda Das was watching, but he already took one bite and he had the other half of the laddu in his hand. So if you go to this temple, you'll see Gopinath, he has half a laddu in his hand. Still, that laddu became part of the deity and it's half the laddu is still there in his hand. So this is the childhood pastime of Raghunandana Das Thakur. And after that, he continued having this very deep and spontaneous relationship with Gopinath. And so there's many beautiful pastimes which he has done. But the most important thing we can remember is that he didn't see the Lord as a statue. Yeah, he had that personal relationship with the Lord. He never let ego or this idea of how rules and regulations should be to get in the way of his devotion. Yeah, so this is something that we can ask for his blessings, that maybe one day the Lord will eat our laddu as well. So going into the pastime now of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, I thought that we can connect it so well with today's verse. Yeah? Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was born in the family of zamindars or landowners. These landowners, as I said, were immensely wealthy. Yeah? His father had the income of 800,000 rupees a year, yearly income. But those were rupees of that time, not today rupees. Yeah? 1 rupee at that time could buy you 350 kilos of rice. Yeah? Nowadays, 1 kilo of rice is 250 rupees. So it's almost opposite. Yeah? So 1 rupee back then could buy you so much more than you can eat in a year. Yeah? And they had 800,000, the family. So they were immensely wealthy. But Raghunath, from a very young age, got the association of Haridas Thakur. His father was good friends with Advaita Acharya, and so they would spend time in Shantipur, there near Advaita Acharya's house. And Advaita Acharya, he took note of Raghunath Das Goswami from a young age. And so when Mahaprabhu was there in the house, he made sure that the remnants went to Raghunath Das Goswami. And so from a very young age, Raghunath became so attached to Mahaprabhu, became so attached to the devotees, and so detached from his material family opulence. And so even at a young age, he was asking his father, can I go and live with Mahaprabhu? Can I leave and stay with the devotees? And so his father became very concerned. He was the only son of his father, and his uncle also had no children. So he was the sole heir of this huge land and wealth and power and, enterprise that they had. So he was, his father expected him to take on later on the business, the family business. But Raghunath had no desire. So when he became a teenager, he even tried to run away a couple of times. And so his father employed 8 men to guard him. He had 2 brahmanas to serve him, cook for him. And he had 5 guards to always be there protecting him, and he had one servant. So 8 people were constantly around Raghunath wherever he went. Even then, 2 more times he tried to escape. And so his father got him married. He said, now you're married, you'll have children, you'll have, the pain that, I'm leaving something behind. And so therefore you'll be peaceful. But Raghunath was so uninterested with married life that he spent his whole day going to holy places, of course with his guards, but he wouldn't be home. And so in this way, contemplating how he can escape, he heard that Mahaprabhu was back in Shantipur in the house of Advaitacharya. And so he went to Shantipur. With the permission of his father, he went to Shantipur and he asked Mahaprabhu, what should I do? How can I get out of the situation I'm in and come to your association? And so Mahaprabhu told him, instead of saying how to escape, he told him, you should stay where you are. Engage in the activities that you have, your prescribed duties, but remain detached. Don't do Markata Sannyas. Markata Sannyas means monkey renunciation. I don't know if you've ever dealt with monkeys, but monkeys, when they see something they really want, they'll stand next to it and look the other way. And they'll just wait until you're not paying attention and then take it. Right? So they act as though they're so detached. They have no desire for your bananas until you don't pay attention. Yeah, so this monkey renunciation is I don't want, Don't show me the wealth, but give it to me here. Yeah, this is Markata Sannyas. So Mahaprabhu tells him, don't artificially give away things before you're ready. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he took this instruction to heart, and he went back and he engaged in his family duties, and his father was very happy. He thought, wow, now I have my son back. And now he's doing his family duties, he's engaging in family life. He must be, he gave up this idea of running away. And so this is when the pastime of Chiradahi Utsav happened. Yeah? He went with his guards and he saw that Nityananda Prabhu was in Panihati on the banks of the Ganga. And from very far away, he paid his obeisances. He was thinking that I am so fallen, so engrossed in material life, that I don't want to disturb Nityananda Prabhu's mood by seeing my face. Yeah, he was in such a humble state that I don't want to disturb Nityananda Prabhu by, if he sees me, then, maybe other devotees will say, oh, this is Raghunath, very rich, and it will disturb his meditation. So from very far away, he paid obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu, being in everyone's heart, he understood Raghunath Das Goswami's mood, and he was very pleased. But he said, go catch that thief. He's stealing my mercy. Yeah, like a thief, he's from very far away taking the mercy and not showing his face. Yeah, like a pickpocket, from behind just takes. So he said, he's stealing the mercy. Go catch that thief. And so they brought Raghunath Das Goswami, and Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu said, for your offense, you must feed all the devotees today, right now. And like that, you'll purify for your crime that you have committed. And so he went to the marketplace, and with his immense wealth, he bought all the yogurt, all the flat rice, all the bananas, all the kheer, and he made this beautiful feast for the devotees. Yeah? The feast was so wonderful that even Mahaprabhu appeared in a subtle form, but he appeared there to take part in this wonderful Prasad festival. Yeah? So this festival is a whole lecture of his own. I won't go into detail. But after that, Raghunath Das Goswami, he was even more desperate to get back the association of the devotees. And so finally he felt that he had the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu and the devotees. During this pastime, Nityananda Prabhu actually told him that soon you'll be reunited with your Lord. And so he felt that now he has completed what Mahaprabhu said, and he's actually ready to give up this material life. And so in the dead of night, he escaped and he went to Puri, where Mahaprabhu was. When he got to Puri, he still had that mood of not approaching Mahaprabhu, trying to get attention, because he felt so low and so impure to be able to approach Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu, he would ask Mukunda Das, or he would ask Shrup Damodar to please go and ask Mahaprabhu what I should do now. What should I be doing? How should I progress? And through Swarup Damodar, Mahaprabhu gave him the instruction that he should not eat palatable food, that he should not acquire any enjoyment. He should constantly be hearing about the pastimes of the Lord and serve the Lord within his heart in that way, by engrossing himself in the pastimes. And so Raghunath Das Goswami took that message so much to heart that he immediately stopped cooking or providing for himself. He gave up everything he had. He had a little bit left, but he gave up everything. And he would stand outside the door of Jagannath Puri, of the temple, and beg for his prasadam. But after some days, he started feeling that I'm looking at everyone's faces with anticipation whether they will give me something or not. And so this feeling makes me feel so dirty, so engrossed in material desire, worse than when I had money. So, and he says he's spending the whole day there to get what he needs to eat. So he decided to go to a place where they give daily, like an anadan, You just go, poor people go, and they give alms at a certain time of the day. So when Mahaprabhu heard this, he was so pleased. He was so pleased that Raghunath is coming to these realizations by himself. Right? Through purification, through following the instructions, he was being purified. And so after some time of going to this place, to this anadan, and receiving money, or not money, food at a certain time of the day, Raghunath began to feel that I am taking what someone else could get. And so I will go to the place where people throw away the extra prasadam, and I'll take that. And so he began going to the rubbish pile after prasadam, and there were all the plates there, the banana plates, and he would collect the rice from the leftover plates, and he would eat that. But after some time, he saw that the dogs and the cows, they were eating that prasadam. And so he felt that he's taking away from the dogs and from the cows. And I shouldn't be taking away their portion either. So he would go to the place where the people washed their hands and their mouths. And from the drain, he would collect the grains of rice that were left. He would wash that very, very well, and he would eat that. So when Mahaprabhu heard this, he felt so much love for Raghunath, he went quickly to his little place where Raghunath was staying, basically a corner of the street. And when he saw Raghunath had this handful of this rice that he has washed, Mahaprabhu stole that rice and ate some. And he went into ecstasy. So the question may come, why is that prasadam more special than Jagannath's prasadam? How come Mahaprabhu wanted that, what Raghunath Das had? And so I was thinking about it, and it came to me that Krishna is present in the Murti form to the extent that his devotee sees him there. To the extent that the devotee worships the Lord as he is present, Krishna is present there. So it's not that some deities are more special than other deities. is that some deities are worshipped by greater devotees than other deities. Some deities are worshipped with more love, so the Lord is more present there, reciprocating that love from their devotees. So Raghunath Das Goswami, that rice, he saw non-different from Mahaprasad, non-different from Krishna. He didn't see the impurity. This was pure prasadam. And so Mahaprabhu wanted that prasadam that was given with so much love by Raghunath Das Goswami. Well, more like collected with so much love by Raghunath Das Goswami. And that's why Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy, seeing the devotion to prasadam, the devotion to Krishna that Raghunath Das Goswami had. The form was irrelevant. Yeah? It's like the pastime with Vidura, right? Krishna was invited to the Hastinapur, to the Kaurava kingdom. And Duryodhana had a whole palace made for Krishna. He had hundreds of servants there to feed him the most wonderful feasts. But Krishna went to the small house of Vidura. And Vidura's wife, she only had bananas. But even then, with only bananas, she was so much enamored by seeing Krishna's face that she was peeling the bananas, throwing the bananas, and giving the peels to Krishna. And Krishna was eating those peels like the most tasty prasadam. Right? So it's all about the love in which it's offered. So Raghunath Das Goswami, that rice, he had so much love for Krishna that Krishna was so present in that prasadam that Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy. Yeah? And so at that time, Mahaprabhu gave Raghunath Das Goswami his Govardhan Shila. And this Govardhan Shila Mahaprabhu had worshipped for many years already. It was non-different from him. And so he gave to Raghunath Das Goswami the Shila. And Raghunath Das Goswami worshipped the Shila throughout his whole life. He stayed in Puri until Mahaprabhu had left this world. And then, following the instructions of Mahaprabhu, he went to Vrindavan. And he was staying on the banks of Radhakund and Shyamakund in the most austere manner possible. After Mahaprabhu had left this world, Raghunath Das Goswami gave up eating any solid food altogether. He would only drink a small cup of chas, buttermilk, every day. If you know, in India, if you go to Braj, buttermilk is what they use to they get the yogurt and they churn it into butter. And that buttermilk, to get 1 kilo of butter, you have maybe 70, 80 liters of buttermilk. And so every house has so much buttermilk that they give to the cows, they give to the animals, and they throw into the fields as fertilizer. Yeah? So Raghunath Das Goswami felt that this is not taking from anyone's portion, and this he can drink and be able to maintain himself. And so in Braj, he was continuing this practice, a small leaf cup of buttermilk every day. And one day, he was sitting on the banks of the Radhakund Shyamakund, and one very rich merchant came to him and said that I want to donate money for you to renovate Radhakund and Shyamakund. At that time, Radhakund and Shyamakund were just 2 puddles, small little ponds in the middle of a rice field. But Raghunath Das Goswami was feeling that I don't want this money. I don't want to get engrossed in these activities of dealing with money and, merchants and workers. But remembering the instructions of Mahaprabhu, he took the Lakshmi and he took care of the renovation of Radhakund and Shyamakund that we see so beautiful today. But Raghunath Das Goswami himself didn't even have a bhajan kutir. He didn't even have a small cottage for him to chant under. The pastime goes that he was one day chanting on the banks of Manasi Ganga, which is nearby Radhakund. And Sanatana Goswami was passing by, and Sanatana Goswami saw that some tigers were drinking from Manasi Ganga. And they drank the water and left. But he saw that between Raghunath Das Goswami and the tigers, Krishna was standing there, protecting Raghunath Das Goswami from the tigers, making sure that he's fine. And so Sanatana Goswami, what did he do? He went to Raghunath Das Goswami and got on his case. He said, "You are making Krishna serve you. If you had built a bhajan kutir, you would be protected from the tigers, and Krishna wouldn't have to come and protect you." This kind of understanding is way beyond what we can imagine, right? They're at a level of engrossment into Krishna's pastimes that even Krishna coming to protect them is an offense to Krishna. It's like, how can you make Krishna serve you? For us, it would be, wow, what a great devotee. But for Sanatana Goswami, he's correcting him. He says, put some effort into fixing and protecting your body so that Krishna doesn't have to do it. So Raghunath Das Goswami said, yes, I'll do. But he was so engrossed in chanting that some time passed, and he was chanting on the banks of Radhakund, and Sanatana Goswami again was passing by, and he saw that Radharani was holding her veil over Raghunath Das Goswami's head, protecting him from the sun. It was a very hot day, and Radharani was sweating. Sweat was pouring down her face because she took off her veil to cover Raghunath Das Goswami's head while he was chanting. And so this was too much for Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami went and even more got on Raghunath Das Goswami's case. Then now Radharani is coming to protect you because you don't make a bhajan kutir. So go and make a bhajan kutir this very instant. And so Raghunath Das Goswami made a small bhajan kutir, and he continued doing his japa, his mental serving of the Lord as Mahaprabhu has instructed him. There's a pastime that Rupa Goswami, he was writing so many books at that time. And he wrote one, I don't know if you've ever read, but Rupa Goswami wrote some dramas. Yeah, it's a book in the form of a play, in which different characters take the roles of Radharani, of the gopis, of Krishna, and they enact the play. And it's so beautiful to read. And so when he wrote the Lalita Madhava, which is a play in great separation, the pain that the gopis feel towards Krishna when he leaves, he thought, I'll give this to Raghunath Das Goswami so he can read it and verify if it's good and enjoy, reading Krishna's pastimes. But Raghunath Das Goswami, when he read it, he became so enrolled into the pastime that it looked like he was going to give up his life. He was so morose and, distraught, feeling the separation of the gopis, that Rupa Goswami quickly wrote another drama. But this one was full of, happiness and the gopas and Krishna and pastimes and playing. And so this other one was called Danakeli Kaumadi. Yeah? It's the playhood pastimes of Krishna. And so he gave that to Raghunath Das Goswami so he could bring him back to life a little bit. Because he didn't want him, to leave just yet. And so like that, Raghunath Das Goswami's life is a life of real yukta vairagya, of real detachment from this material world. Today's verse was all about good times and bad times, and seeing Krishna's hand in everything we do, that he will show the mercy by taking away, or he will give you the opportunity to enjoy, but make sure that you are taken care of. And so Raghunath Das Goswami, he is the true emblem of pure detachment. He didn't give up things because he wanted to have fame or to be to be better than someone else. Sometimes when we do our devotional service, we do it with a subtle desire to do better than someone. Look how I wash the pots. Look how well I clean the floor. Look how nicely I dress the deities. Much better than he did yesterday. Yeah? So this transcendental competition is sometimes good in the beginning stages. But this was not the motive of Raghunath Das Goswami. He came to these realizations through his own devotion, through his own introspection and seeing what actually is happening. Like the pastime of how he began taking the prasadam from the drain. Yeah? It wasn't that he was artificially, no, I want to be more austere and more austere and more austere. No, he saw a problem and he fixed it. Then he saw another problem and he fixed that. And he saw another problem and he fixed that. So in our process of devotional service, following Mahaprabhu's example, we shouldn't artificially put ourselves on a standard of renunciation or devotion that we cannot maintain. That will make us more proud. I'm going to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to show everyone how good a devotee I am. That's not going to help you in devotional service. That's going to get in the way of your devotional service. You'll become critical. You'll become puffed up. You'll become angry that other people aren't living up to your high expectations of how you're supposed to be. The other people aren't as good as you. Right? So instead of helping you, this markata sannyas, this artificial rejection of material enjoyment is going to get in the way. Yeah? So following Raghunath Das Goswami's example, we should take step by step, consciously thinking what am I doing this for? Is it good? Is it bad? Is this helping my devotional service or not? And like that, take a steady path to get back to Krishna. Yeah? The things that we must destroy immediately is clearly prescribed. 4 regulative principles, right? In Nectar of Instruction, right? There's so many associating with non-devotees, speaking prajalpa, over-accumulation of wealth, right? So many things are given for us that we know that, okay, this right now. But as we go forward in our devotional service, we have to be very conscious of what steps we take and take them with maturity and understanding and with blessings of our Vaishnavas. Then in that way, we can be steady in our progress, not up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah? Okay, so this is what I had thought to speak of. If there's any other comments or questions, please.
Thank you. It was beautiful, beautiful class. So many different points, but the last question I remembered is you just spoke now about I don't want to be like the monkey sannyasi and artificially put too much austerity on. And one can say maybe I don't know, when you were younger, 20 years, 30 years ago in the movement, it was quite austere and devotees were really pushed sometimes beyond maybe even capacity. And on the other side, it comes up a little bit more and more now that now devotees are not given enough of a push or enough of a direction. So I don't know if you'd have some comment on that.
Yeah, we see in the past the struggles that devotees had to do in the beginning stages of the movement were very severe at times. But that was necessary at that time for the movement to be able to expand. And so they definitely got the mercy of the Lord that they went through that initial trial period, let's say, of the movement and had to suffer many things. And maybe now you see that they may not be so, so inspired to keep giving that much or to continue with the movement in that way. Many have fallen away because of that, right? Some through their association, through their support, through the devotees they have around them, they were able to get past that and then continue, even in the same path or even more, right? But that was by the mercy of the devotees. That was by the mercy of the people who gave them the support and the attention and the love that they needed, right? A brahmachari can live very austere, but they need to have association. They need to have the love. They need to have the attention. They have to have the encouragement. Then it's not artificial. It's not that I'm trying to be separate. They're doing it as a group. They're doing it as with encouragement, with support. Yeah, so it's not that they're artificially rejecting it. It's that the situation demands it, let's say, or as a group, they're determined to do that for becoming purified. And so with the association of devotees, they're able to encourage one another and also keep one another in check, that they don't become proud, that they don't become arrogant, that they don't think they're superior. And you see, whenever the superiority feeling comes up, whatever group that is eventually breaks away. It doesn't last. It doesn't continue. So yeah, nowadays we're lacking that that drive, or at some places it's lacking that encouragement. I would say is probably the better word. It's more a lack of real relationships. That everybody's just kind of living their own life. Everybody's just isolated, and there's not even any competition anymore. It's just like, oh, you want to chant 1 round a day? Okay, fine. I'll chant half a round a day. It's just, there's like, you live your life, I live my life. Don't stick your nose in my business. And that's just a lack of community, lack of association, lack of real relationships where someone can go to you and say, Prabhu, I feel that you are suffering and you are not as inspired as you used to be, 3 months ago. How can I help? But no one, they're not going to do that. And so, you could, but you don't want, you don't want, you don't want to impose on them, but also sometimes it's just, I don't want the headache. And so it's, and that's also because you don't have someone else who will do that for you. And so you feel like, I haven't experienced that kind of love and attention, so I also hesitate to give that to someone else because I don't know if they're going to like it or not. It's like if someone gives you a really wonderful gift that kind of breaks you out of the regular, last minute trip to DM to grab you a present, right? They actually, for months think about it and really make you something amazing. It can be super cheap, but it's with so much thought. You're going to think about that next time you have to give a gift to someone. You're going to pick up your game. Not because you want to compete, but just because, wow, how lazy I am. How, I could have done something. I could have written him a nice letter. Something. So when you start receiving that kind of love, you're able to give that kind of love. But now it's just so impersonal. And so I feel that that's a great cause of our lack of determination to just, get serious and do it now. Go back to God it tomorrow type feeling, But back then they had that. And so the austerities they felt. And then when that love and support went away through different situations, the austerity was a burden, and so it was given up. Rather than, It's really nice when you're in a group, let's go take a cold bath. There's just so many things become fun and inspiring, and you remind each other, and shloka practice, and different realizations, reading circles. So everything becomes nice. But when there's not that support and love and exchange of inspiration, it goes away. That's okay, Mataji? I know I just explained the problem, but I'm not really.
Just a small point. What could help to bring that, or to bring that determination, that drive back? Like, what could we do as?
It's just you have to start doing it, giving that to other people, and you may not get anything back. But it's hard. You have to keep trying, and maybe you won't, but he will give to someone else. Maybe no one will give to you, and that's why it's difficult. It's you'll give and give and give and give and give, but you may not receive back. But Krishna will see it, and then someone else will receive. I give a wonderful gift to this person. He may never give something back to me. He moved away. He doesn't live here anymore. But they will give to someone else a wonderful gift, and then that person will give, and so it's. But it's a group effort is always helpful. Yes, Raman in the room.
It's a technical question to the purport. First of all, it's always fascinating how, because we always think so Ravana was living in Lanka, right? So, but here we hear, and Srila Prabhupada says how he points it out with certainty, we can say something like that this is Brazil basically, right?
Yeah.
And this is one thing. Maybe you have some other thoughts or heard something else about how can this be explained. And then the other point is that he makes the example that Ravana was worshipping Shiva, and therefore Durga was pleased and gave him riches. On the other hand, and Prabhupada says this, but he doesn't compare it. But on the other hand, he offended Vishnu by taking Sita, and therefore he was doomed. Now, but Durga is kind of a expansion, or of Sita. I mean, of Lakshmi, whatever. Yeah. So, how we could bring this together?
Nice question, Prabhu. With the question, first part with Brazil, I think Sadaputta Prabhu, he in his book, he explained this very nicely. And he explained that there was a connection between Lanka and South America at that time. And it was part of their kingdom. It wasn't that was Lanka. Lanka is not where it was now. It was actually more low, and it was much bigger. Because if you read the text, the size of Lanka, it doesn't match up. Also 100 yojanas also. Of course, with the shrinking of ages, there's different explanations he gives. But if you look at the Mayan, Aztec, mainly Mayan, their history, it's very clear. Like, there were beings that came and explained them how to do this, how to do that. And even the pictures, the explanation of gods. I mean, they have the main god, Itakshaka, which is clearly Takshaka. You can see the face. He has different heads. He's a serpent body. He flies in the sky. Like, it's clearly. So it's so clear that at some point there was an exchange. There was part of the society. And so the practices, everything was from the Danava? No. Ravana is Daitya? Daitya Danava. Or is he Rakshasa? He's Rakshasa. So it was part of the Rakshasa civilization, right? Then when you speak about the second part of the question with Durga Mata giving him blessings, but then he's stealing... But then stealing Sita, and how come he was still... But he wasn't anymore. Before Ravana killed the king... What was his name? Anu something. He got everything. Yeah. When he went, he was on his way back from Shiva, and he had everything. Right? He got given the Lanka, he got given the Pushpaka, he stole the Pushpaka. But all these activities he did before, he was dealing with his equals. He was fighting Gandharvas, he was fighting demigods, he was doing things that, maybe weren't the great, but he was still on the same business level. But then he went and for no reason at all destroyed an entire race just because he was flying over and he decided it would be fun to kill them, right? And then he went past the rules of war and did some bad things during that same battle. Then he was cursed. And that's when the beginning of the curses started. And then when he met with Padmavati in the Himalayas, the sage, Sita in her past life, right? And he tried to steal her. Then he was cursed by her, right? And he just got curse after curse after curse after curse after curse, like one after another. Nandi cursed him. Everyone cursed him. And that was the beginning of his degradation until he stole Sita. Once he stole Sita, then that was it, right? And like Prabhupada gives the example that, you switch off the fan, it may keep spinning a little bit, but eventually it's going to come to a stop. When he stole Sita, the fan switched off. And then it was just a few more moments before he was completely destroyed. Yeah. So as long as he was behaving as a Rakshasa, which is crazy, but he was behaving as a Rakshasa. You know, a lion's a lion. Lion eat deer. He doesn't get karma. Rakshasa is a Rakshasa. So as long as he was behaving as a Rakshasa, everything was fine. But when he started going against his dharma and stealing Sita, etc., that's when his ruination came. Yeah? He was so puffed up, he tried to lift Kailash. Shiva punished him. And then he wrote the Shiva Tandava Stotra, which is one of the most beautiful prayers, right? The way it's created, it sounds like the Dumuru, it sounds like the drum. You know, Ravana was the son of a great sage. He knew poetry. And till today, they chant that for Lord Shiva, Ravana's prayers to Lord Shiva. You know, they chant it all the time. But when he went against his dharma, that was the end. Right? So, yes, the devotees to Lord Shiva, they may receive great wealth, they may receive great blessings from Lord Durga, but you see, as soon as they start going against their dharma, once they start, you know, doing little shady stuff, then this prime minister found with 100 kilos of gold, and this problems, and this rape case, and blah, 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 and, you know. So yeah, Shiva is detached. He will give you whatever you want, but he's detached. When devotees approach Shiva, he'll take care of them. When karmis, it's just a business deal. You know? It's like you go to the doctor gives you medicine, whether you take it or not, or abuse it, what does he care? All right, it's just a business deal. You give me money, I give you what you want. But Vishnu is not like that. When you're a devotee of Vishnu, he'll give you the medicine, but he'll make sure you take it in the right way. Otherwise, he'll take it away from you, right? And that's why people are afraid to be devotees of Vishnu, because their desires get fulfilled with terms and conditions. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. So, does that make sense? Thank you. Okay, we'll end here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki